Hey guys, we have a FrankenRazor today. Explain that in just a second. A Lowborn supply brush, awesome green and black handle. They did the handle, and then the knot is from Declaration Grooming. This is a B4. This will be my second time using it. The first time was terrific. The tips do gel a little bit, and I think it's a level at which I'm comfortable. I don't like massively jelly tips like so many guys out there do. Inside the razor we'll put a relatively young blade, 7 o'clock black, super platinum, and then I'm retrying this scent. I love Icarus as a soap base, and so I know it's going to perform. There are strong wine, white grape notes that come kind of right away, but there are these florals kind of that come with it and kind of behind it. And it is a masterful creation for people who like this this type of thing. And it's even won awards, not the soap, but the liquid, colognes and things like that Sean made. And but I'm just trying to figure out if this is a one to keep around. So let's just shave with it again. All right, I'm gonna get my face wet. I'm gonna put the blade in the razor and we'll be back. You know, I thought this blade just had like 6 uses, but it turns out it's had about 11 or so. But that's still pretty young. So instead of me putting the blade in off camera, I wanted to show you, this is the right time to show you about the FrankenRazor. I was reading a comment of another YouTube viewer a few days ago who was saying, probably on one of the videos where I was using a Fatip razor. It's an Italian razor, and this is the base plate. It's the open comb that's on the Grande or the Piccolo open comb, same base plate. And they said they took a top cap and a handle from a DE89, which is kind of a standard type razor, and they put the Fatip base plate as the base plate, took out the DE89 base plate, and they had good experiences with that. I've tried it with an old type top cap. Now, why would you want to do that? Because the Piccolo handle, the Fatip razor setup top cap and stuff, it's all brass, it's great. But if you don't like the handles, you can't just take a standard handle and screw it into the Fatip top cap. You can't just swap the heads out because it's different threading, different enough to cause me pause. And you might actually be able to get it on it sometimes, but I don't want to put any stressors on kind of a weak connection. So what do? You take the base plate out, and you take the top cap from another razor. And this one is from a Maggard V3, which is pretty much a copy of the DE89 style head. So in essence, that's what it is, DE89. And then this is just a standard stainless steel handle that goes on so many of those heads, compatible with that screw type, not compatible with Fatip, but compatible with the Maggard head. And so that's why we have a FrankenRazor today. The main thing you need to look at is to make sure that the contact point right here at the edge is touching the base plate. I looked at the Game Changer head because it's stainless steel, whereas this is the V3 is a Zamac head. That's why using the old type might be nice, because it's a brass head. If you're looking for maybe a combination to enjoy for a long time, years and years and years. And so this one's fine. You can see a little gap. You don't get the gap here at the junction at the furthest point of the top cap, but you do get it back here. So it is going to bow that blade properly. And so that's what we're going to try out today. So we'll take the 7 o'clock black. I have no idea how it's going to shave. The Fatip open comb shaves great. Alright, we can inspect it, make sure that the blade alignment is good. Alright, let's try that out. Throw some water on my face. Well, the weather took a cold turn, so we're definitely dealing with some cold water tonight until the heat builds up. Alright, so I looked at my info and it said that about a 40-second load might be about right for Icarus soap. It's given me 5 passes in the past, according to my little history on my computer program. So 30 is going to roll around right there. So, oh man, this guy is, see, I dropped this soap in a little earlier when I was sniffing it. It slipped out of my hands, and so the puck is slipping around in the tub here. If I do in circles, then it's not going to get a good load. So I'm just going to have to stick with back and forth movements. And then eventually the soap suds will dry and lock everything in place. So that's 30 seconds of loading. I definitely feel like I should do the 40 seconds for sure. I may have to do even more. All right, let's try that. Just slipping around there. Okay, you can see it's very goopy and drippy, but that's all right. Cleaning off the tub. Weinstrasse would be my guess as to how Germans might pronounce that. I listened to an audio book one time when I had a job that required a long commute. It was a really cool story about I guess it was a spy, and they were in Germany. That was just the setting. Really interesting audiobook, and so I heard the word Strasse said a lot, and so that's my contact with that word, my experience. Yeah, so that scent, the white grape, is jumping up to me. Now, the last time I used it, the white grape was evident in the beginning, but it was a note that didn't last the whole shave by any means. And that was a disappointment to me, because what was left were notes that I wasn't as much of a fan of. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 teaspoons in. I think 3.5 was my amount last time. So I am going to keep that in mind as a potential target for when I should start looking at the soap to see if it's enough water in there. Really pleased with the backbone of this brush. It's not very strong in backbone. It's maybe medium to a hair less than medium in terms of backbone stiffness. Right now they're on the B9 series. I think they're also doing the B8 for a little while. Maybe he's quit the B8 already. Best way is not to try to buy one of his brushes, in my opinion, because they come on his site and are gone pretty quickly. But to buy a handle yourself from maybe another handle vendor and send it to him for knotting. It might take a while if he's got a lot to do, but you'll get it if you're interested. I've heard that the B9A, B9 Alpha is like the B4 knot. Well, I've got a B4 now, so I don't guess I need a B9A, right? But if you're interested, B4s are hard to come by. So maybe getting the B9A might be a close approximation if you had a good budget, a hefty budget to spend on a brush. But the Maggard SHD knots are really nice. Elite razors make some really nice knots as well that don't quite cost as much as Declaration. Yeah, this lather's looking pretty good. Not a ton of it. And I'm not surprised because of the type of loading I had to do. I couldn't do circles. I had to just go back and forth. I don't think I loaded quite as much as I might usually. So I might just stick with this. This is 3 teaspoons in this lather. 3 teaspoons of water, 40 seconds of loading. Let's just go with this. Oh, let's show you the kind of the viscosity here. A little bit of stretch, collapsing tips on in the bowl there. Let's just see if this is right in the perfect zone, or maybe a little too thick, because we can always add some more water. All right, the razor's ready. Throw a little water on my face. That is still cold. If you ever have a shave where your face is feeling kind of roughed up, irritated maybe because your technique needs improvement, or you just happen to stumble upon a razor or blade that was a rough combo. Get the water out of my beard. Then a cool water rinse might really help you out, reduce some inflammation. Sometimes if the center of the brush doesn't have much lather, just go back and tap some more in there. Sometimes you can switch to painting for a second and then capture some more in the center of the brush, you know. Brush feels really good. The tips aren't super soft this time around. But a very nice feel. They may have needed more soaking, so they may increase in softness near the end of the shave. That's another way to get lather in the middle of the brush, you know, if you don't have very much in the middle there. then you can kind of wipe some around the sides and then take the middle and put it right there. Some people don't even put their lather on. They don't work their lather in the splay. They only do these types of motions, the painting back and forth. Well, to each his own, but man, I really enjoy that sensation of the brush in the splay, just massaging my face basically, and just the softness is terrific. It's just like a spa event every day that I get to shave. You like my little rat tail goatee? All right, here we go. See how the FrankenRazor Fatip open comb base plate, Maggard V3 or DE89 top cap, and just any old handle. And we'll see how it goes here. Very nice. Very nice. Taking down that growth easily and with smoothness. So I bet this 7 o'clock black would work very well if I just had the Fatip, razor. This is a good combo, just cutting very well. A lot of confidence. It's inspiring, a lot of confidence and security. There's not very much chattering as it moves across my skin. It's not producing very much audio because of that. Very smooth feeling, and I'll bet it's going to be cutting close. It's not going to leave me with a bunch of stubble like sometimes when the feeling is smooth, it's because it's not cutting very much hair. I don't believe that's the case here. This is a very good razor combo. This is the first pass. I've had 24 hours of growth, so it's a normal shave, and the cut already has been terrific. My face felt very well shaven after just one pass. So this looks like a terrific combination of parts. Looks like I'm going to have plenty of lather to do the job today. Cross grain now, since it's the second pass. Oh, very smooth. Just a light touch. And there we go, rinse. All right, lather up for the third pass. Sometimes a razor will be aggressive to a degree but it's sneaky. You won't start to feel it till the end of the shave. This doesn't seem like one of those cases, but it reminded me of that. Where I've used a razor and I thought very favorable things the first pass. Then I gradually noticed a little bit more irritation in the second pass, just kind of tenderness. And then by the third pass, it was kind of full-scale irritation. This might just be a really good hardware parts combo here. Yeah, closeness looks really good. Let's rinse. All right, so pretty good use of lather. That 40 seconds. I bet I could make 2 passes out of this. And it's a terrific looking lather. I think it's right in that perfect zone. It's wet, very slick, but it is still a little bit on the creamy side. So 2 passes left over. Oh yeah, it's got this great slick feeling. Not a watery slickness, but a slightly buttery, just slickness. Very nice. And the shave here, let me dry my beard off. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. I have good comfort. And in my trouble spot here, there's a little bit of a shadow, but it's kind of hard to find any tips with any length on them. And so I think that's still pretty good for me, since I can't go against the grain. It gives me irritation and often cuts. So I'm happy with that result. And this is on a 12 use blade or so. So we're definitely not talking about what some people would perceive as the sharpest scenario. But as you can see, it's still a very sharp edge. I've got a Nasset that I've shaved 220 times on. It still has a sharp edge. It still will, cut me if I want to do that. So these blade edges will go a lot longer than you think. 3 teaspoons of water is what today's adventure was on. 40 seconds of loading, 3 teaspoons of water. Now, if you don't have a syringe, you don't want to be bothered by using the syringe. It's great because shaving has all kinds of people doing it. You could have a small trickle going on in your faucet. So you take your bowl, you're working your lather after you've loaded it, then you just stick it under the trickle for a second, bring it back up, work it for a little while. And so then obviously you're not going to be able to know how much water you added, but who cares if it works for you, right? What you would need to do then is learn to identify the look of your lather. How does it look in terms of the some things you can watch for? You can pull it up like I do and look at the stringiness between the brush and the bowl. Pull up the wad. You can try to gather up as much as you can and then shake it. See how it drops. If it drops really solid ball without very much of a peak, then it maybe needs more water, perhaps, for that rest of that soap. If it has super long peaks that are all stretched out, for a few excellent soaps, that's perfect. For some sub soaps that might do that, it may mean you have overwatered them a little bit. You can look at the texture of it. Is it smoothed over? Does it have a bunch of peaks and hills and valleys? That's often the case if it needs more water sometimes. So take a look at those different, how does it sound in the bowl when you're mixing it with your brush? Those are all things you can use as you are waiting for that water addition to let you land in the right spot. So those are some tips. So I'm happy with today's shave. Let me throw on a splash, and let's use an alcohol splash this time, kind of test out the cut. All right, this is Nivea Deep Comforting Post-Shave Lotion. It's weird, isn't it, that they call it a lotion, and it's been called lotion for decades when it's not a lotion. It's not creamy. It's just a alcohol splash. It's got some fragrance in there. If you're lucky, it might have some aloe or witch hazel or calendula or something like that. I forgot how this smells. I've only used it once, I think. Not very much stinging at all. So that means my technique was excellent. I got a close shave, comfortable without much stinging. So I'm happy with that, definitely. Excellent cleanup time. Well, I believe this 7 o'clock black super platinum is becoming a blade that is very good for me in a few different razors. So that's good discovery. Well, part of today's shave was to see if this scent on this soap was just a little too flowery for me, and it definitely is close to the line. I'm going to use it a few more times. It didn't bother me during the shave. There wasn't anything that kind of tripped my triggers during it because it was not a strong scent. But just putting my nose in it after the shave and before, you know. But hey, you know, sometimes things grow on you. This is it's a limited edition. It's kind of done now. And I definitely don't want to pass it on before it's time, before I make sure that it's not one for me. So, save your razor parts. DE89 Maggard V3 top cap. Maggard sells a bunch of handles, and so this is like one of those. This is a stainless steel handle, but really so many options out there. And then the base plate here from the Fatip open comb works great. I could easily enjoy using this for the rest of my life. It was a great cutter, cut very closely, but smoothly and under control. A lot of comfort. I don't have any irritation or tenderness in my face at all. So very happy with the cut here for sure. Well, there we go. Really happy with that. So, soap performance, excellent. I feel like I nailed the lather in terms of a nice combination of slickness, wetness, and creaminess. It was a joy to use. The razor was terrific. The brush was great. It did soften up a little bit as I moved through the shave. The deep aftershave, I think it's got a little vanilla to it, but it's just the right amount. I've definitely used something with a little too much vanilla. This had maybe a little vanilla behind the scenes, but there were so many other kind of manly, spicy notes, cologne type notes around it, that it is, I'm enjoying it quite a bit as I'm just walking around closing down my situation here. So I'm enjoying that too. And I've got oily skin. I don't even know if that had any nourishing ingredients in it, but I'm all right. So you take care. I hope there was something here for you. To that viewer, I wish I would have made note of your name and to give you some attribution, you know, some acclaim for a great suggestion. Thank you so much for that. It was a joy to try out and play with and experience. There we go. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Good night.